Alright, I'm gonna share with you the magicians in the Persona 3 Compendium. This is Surt, the highest level magician. The description is actually is pretty straightforward actually. There isn't really much that describes Surt as far as the fact that he is the ruler of Muspelheim. The fiery sword, yes, it is what would be used in Ragnarok to set the world on fire. They also there's some that associate Surt as an aspect of Loki, which could be understood because after all Loki is one of the enemies of the gods. And he's been immortalized kind of in being the source of the name for the island Surtsey, which was found off of Iceland, that erupted recently in the last century. Next one is Rangda. I couldn't find a lot on her. All that was suggested about her is that she's basically an evil witch and the Queen of Bali. And the fact that she was slain by Barong. Whether or not this never-ending struggle thing is true or not, my resources don't really say, but I'm sure that it's possible. But well, that's pretty much all I can really think of about Rangda, other than the fact that she's an incredible pain in Nocturne because of her stupid repel physical attacks, debilitate, and her fingernails can do nice slashing attacks. Oh, but a lot of these magicians are fire-based, so... Orobas, is one of the 72 Spirits of Solomon. If you remember from Shadowheart's Covenant, he was one of the demons we encountered in the Neem Ruins. But the term Gotia, I think it's a term that's been thrown around as a substitute for the 72 Spirits of Solomon, but it usually associates with miracle workers that usually use black magic to perform miracles. But I think this is probably just a blending of it with conjuration. This description is pretty accurate as far as what I looked at in my resources. So there's the whole association with a horse, or with a horse's body and a man's torso, like you see. Sati is Shiva's first lover, and the main myth that surrounds her is when her father invited all the major deities to a sacrificial banquet, but Shiva was not invited. And Sati, in protest to this, actually jumped into the sacrificial fire and burned herself. Another tale actually says that she actually was so pure, her purity was actually the thing that burned her. And the term Sati is usually associated kind of as a term for widows that that basically burn themselves in alive in their dead husband's fire or pyres. Okay, next one, Hua Po. I found nothing on her, sadly. Though some resources, prominently Wikipedia, which is, again, not as reliable as one might expect. But they said that she was mentioned in a recent King Dynasty bestiary, which the King Dynasty being between the 17th and early 20th centuries. So I don't know exactly how accurate, I can't really tell the accuracy of this depiction, but since they describe her as a tree spirit, in the Shin Megami Tensei games, she's always usually classified as an earth spirit, or in Nocturne she's called the Jirei. She's part of the Jirei clan. Okay, next one. Pyro Jack basically is one of the common elements of the Shin Megami Tensei series, so there isn't really much mythical about him. Aside from the fact that since he was called a jack-o'-lantern, jack-o'-lantern being pretty much the prominent thing that is often associated with Halloween, but also jack-o'-lantern is basically a spirit that associates in boundaries. As for this description, this is the commonest one that is always associated with Pyro Jack in any of the Shin Megami Tensei games. But it's hard to tell exactly how accurate this is from any other mythical resource, but they do have the creative license to actually make up a story, so I let it slide. So, the next one, moving on, about now, Jack Frost. Jack Frost, he's usually called an elf or a fairy, which is why he's often classified as a fairy, and most of the Shin Megami Tensei games. I think his oldest occurrence was probably the Jack Brothers game, which, according to the Megami Tensei series, was one of the earliest games that led up to Shin Megami Tensei, and where they introduced Jack Frost. But Jack Frost is basically the name that's usually associated for the basically the ice or the frost that you see on windows. Usually, as frost has a certain intricate pattern as it forms, so that's why it's often associated with a manual painting by said Jack Frost. And the last one is Nekomata. I couldn't find her in the main resource that I had, but I think another term for her is called Bakeneko, which means ghost cat. It's usually a cat that's often associated as a demon, and I think that kind of stems from the fact that in Buddhism, the cat was one of the few animals that actually visited the Buddha that didn't appear at the Buddha's funeral. So, basically long-tailed cats are considered demons, which may also explain why the prominent Japanese cat in artwork and also in modern culture is the bobtail, which is the one with a really short tail. But the Bakeneko usually has this forked tail, or a tail that's forked at two ends. So that's pretty much it for magicians. I'm gonna finish this here.